YouTube found community, Jack White fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we are here today to talk about No Name, the brand new album from Jack White. A sort of surprise release from Jack White. This was released kind of quietly on July 19th as a giveaway at the Third Man Record stores. Basically, if you bought something at the store, you'd get a copy of this for free in a plain white sleeve, white record, white label with blue text that said No Name on it. And people caught on pretty fast. They were like, whoa, this sounds like Jack White. Wait, this is Jack White. These are all new songs. And a radio station played some of it. That's kind of fun. Let's build up some mystery here. Finally being released here on vinyl in early August of 2024, this thing is a breath of fresh air. I've loved Jack White since the White Stripes days, so at this point, well over 20 years now, and I've followed his career through all the different versions he's had, whether it's the Raconteurs, the Dead Weather, solo, you name it, I've been there. This album is his sixth solo album, and easily one of the best things he's done in years. I loved his last two albums, and I thought they were really decent, but there's an energy on this one and a tenacity that's here that's definitely been missing for a very long time. There's a sense of urgency in the performances where every single song sounds like it's ready to explode, and I love that. For a guy this deep into his career, to still be making music that he feels so deeply, and then that translates to the audience, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's not an easy thing to do. But he sounds hungry, revitalized, he wants to prove himself, and he's playing with riff styles and structures that he hasn't messed around with since the early White Stripes days. There's things that he does here, especially with like slide guitar moments that sound very Distill or White Blood Cells, and he just hasn't played with those in a long time. So it's a little bit of the familiar with the new, so it's not just completely like a throwback. There's a lot of new on here too, especially with some of his like lyrical styles these days, but it just works. It's easily the most playful I've heard Jack White in a long time, and you got a great lineup on here. Olivia Jean plays bass or drums sometimes in the songs. Patrick Keeler from the Raconteurs plays drums on most of the songs. His daughter plays bass on one song. Everything about this just feels like, you know what, let's get in the garage and just jam and see what happens. And that's really what it is. It's a fun album. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's not trying too hard. It's just like, you know what, let's just go play some great rock songs and have fun and put it out and not tell anybody about it. You just get the whole album and play the whole thing and enjoy it for what it is. There's something to be said about releasing an album with some mystery behind it. And Jack White's thing has been mystery since day one. Kind of like, what's he going to do next? But putting a full album out there with like no build-up. These days, if you get an album on, online or wherever you stream your albums, buy an album, whatever, sometimes you've heard half the record before the album comes out because there's going to be 6 singles and like a viral video or a viral TikTok dance or like a humongous promotional campaign. So when the album does come out, you hear the next 4 or 5 songs that afternoon, and then you're kind of done with the album. So this is an album for album's sake. So Jack White, great job, man. Old Scratch Blues is the first track on this thing, and I instantly fell in love with this thing because you get that sort of smooth, sleek guitar refrain, but then it just jumps into this chugging, earthy, growling riff. And then Jack's unmistakable vocals, but like it's got just enough left turns to keep you interested the whole way through, and it reminds you again why you fell in love with Jack White's music in the first place. Bless Yourself comes up next, and the drums are so splashy, the guitars feel raw and messy. It's equally choppy, but it's equally beautiful. There's some great lines on this thing, like, if God's busy, then I'll bless myself. The fuzz guitar in this thing just shreds, and for as fuzzy or as messy as it is, it's insanely catchy, which is the mark of a good White Stripes song. That's How I'm Feeling follows that one up next, and this one has been kind of teased as like the lead-off single, if you will, that's been used the most in their social media, but I like the cozy little intro. It's kind of a cute, calm little intro, but then it explodes into this frenzy of like, it's a tornado of emotions. It's just pop rock perfection. It's exactly what feels right when you put on like a Jack White record. And I'm making that reference a lot. I'm saying White Stripes or Jack White because throughout his solo career, he's really expanded into different territories, whether it was a little bit of dub, a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of kind of weird psychedelic stuff, electronic. He's tried all kinds of stuff over his career. Sometimes great, sometimes, not so great. But that's just what happens when you express yourself and put it out to the public. People will like it or they won't like it. But coming off his last 2 albums, which, the heavier one was a little bit more like abrasive, I would say. Then the next one was completely acoustic, which I'm a sucker for Jack's acoustic stuff. But everything he's done in his solo career has felt sort of polished. And again, I use that term loosely and lightly because it's after all, it's Jack White. But when it comes to this record, it sounds like why we fell in love with his playing style and his lyrics and his delivery in the first place. You know, when I started buying those White Stripes albums back in the day, I liked that they were raw. I liked that it was just two people. I liked that, you know, it was like songs you can go play in your basement and just have fun rocking out to. Since then, things have gotten progressively more intricate and detailed, which is what happens. An artist grows. That's normal. It's supposed to happen. But on this record, I'm not saying we're going back in time, but it's almost like Jack was like, nah, screw it. It's just like, this is play some guitars. Like, I'm not going to try too hard. But maybe he did try hard. I don't know. It just sounds like he's having fun. That's all that matters. It's Tough on Rats is a cool song. Very, again, White Stripes for me. Very Distill with that slide guitar moving up and down with the splashy cymbals in the background. That's a very early White Stripes move. Excellent world-weary sort of tension on this track. Archbishop Harold Holmes. This is a very interesting song and one that really punches along well. And it's one of Jack's story songs. He's done that a lot over the years where he's like delivering a story. I think of like Carolina Drama from the Raconteurs, but this one literally starts off with Dear Friend and it goes through this entire list of like, you need me right away so I can fix this. You need me right away so I can fix this. It's basically like, you know, hey, I can help you out. I'm here if you need help. And it literally ends, signed sincerely, yours in faith, love and peace, your friend, Archbishop Harold Holmes. There you go. Bombing Out. This thing is just a punk jammer. This thing just has so many hooks mixed in, but it's also super quick, super peppy, on its toes the entire time. Just a fun rockin' time. What's the Rumpus closes off side one, and this is a song I'm trying to figure out the meaning to. He mentions taking out his Sansui, which is a really nice, like, high-end audio piece of audio equipment. Talking about, like, getting possibly dropped from a label, talking about, like, an entity they look up to, whether that's, like, a rock and roll star or some sort of godlike thing. For me, this might be a track about, like, growing up and getting into a band and possibly going somewhere and being aware of, like, what the music world is like at that time and kind of where you see your place in it, but also being aware that like things could change at the drop of a hat. So maybe it's kind of like that. Side 2 opens with Tonight, which is one of my favorite songs on the entire record. The charging riff on this thing is a force to be reckoned with, and Patrick's drumming, it's steady and it crashes at the right times. This needs to be a single. And I'm trying to figure out what the words mean on this one too. It's another one of those story songs, but I can't quite put my finger on where he's going with it. All I know is that it's extremely catchy, and you should put it on because I think you're going to dig it. Underground follows that up next and features Scarlet White on bass, Jack's daughter, which is very, very cool. This one just sounds kind of like a cheerful blues. Like, it's not super sad. It's got blues elements, but it sounds optimistic. A song about getting away from it all, you know, ducking out, getting underground, kind of hiding away, keeping yourself safe. The sing-songy guitar solo was really cool, but again, this trio just works. Number One with a Bullet follows that one up next. And for what I can tell, this might be a song about cheering yourself on or like looking out for yourself and, you know, kind of expelling the wisdom to others that you've discovered in helping yourself or keeping yourself out of trouble or just making sure your mental health was okay. I could be way off on that as well, but this is just Jack and Patrick. White Stripes mode, two people, and it rocks. The breakdown is awesome. It's very much in the White Stripes canon. It's just a straightforward jammer. Morning at Midnight for me almost feels a little 16 Saltines-ish. I feel like Jack's gentle voice on the verses plays really well with the organ bursts and sort of tense atmosphere that creep up through this song. Missionary follows that one up next, and the chorus on this one almost sounds like Walking Contradiction by Green Day from Insomniac. Lyrically, this song is either a very naughty song, like a very naughty song, or a self-empowering ode to yourself and just being stoked on yourself. Jack, any insight? Let me know in the comments below, man. And then Terminal Arch Enemy Ending. This is an epic song. It's seriously one of the most fun songs he's put out in a long time. It's adventurous, but it keeps that raw spirit alive. Jack screams so well on this track. And this whole album, he does those really high-pitched vocal ad-libs, which I think are just super fun. But for me, this song is a moment of reflection, kind of like having obtained everything you would have wanted in life. Like you in a steady relationship, your job works out well, you know, you got a nice place to live, things are working out pretty cool. What do you look forward to next? Like, what's the next thing to aspire to? but you're happy with the reflection. You're not feeling lost and you're looking forward. You're feeling comfortable, as in like you have options to what happens next. It doesn't feel like a song that's scared of itself, even though musically it sounds kind of menacing, a little bit brash. I think it's more of an optimistic song that just wants to rock because it's feeling good, unashamedly feeling good, and it's like it's stoked about that. Here's the lyric sheet with the credits. And the album itself is just this absolutely brilliant black and blue swirl, see-through. It just looks so rad. They nailed it on that color. So cool. For being Jack's sixth solo album, and I don't know what number this is for like his entire discography, but for being this deep into his career, at almost 25, or actually 25 years at this point, he's done a lot. He's said a lot. He's made a lot of music, and we've loved a lot of it along that journey. For him to put something out now that sounds just as fresh and vibrant as the music we fell in love with so many years ago really is a testament to his ingenuity and creativity and his hunger to constantly prove himself. And maybe not prove himself, maybe that's not the right word, but like he's not resting on his laurels ever. I think he understands where he came from and what fans maybe expect from him, but I don't think that's ever stopped him, and I don't think that's ever influenced his decision with what he was making for his music. I think with this case, he may have just had his friends around and had some fresh ideas and was like, you know what? I don't want to work too hard on this one. I just want to do it old school like we used to do and just have fun. And it works. You hear the fun. I think the lyrics are poetic. There's a lot to dig into with these words. As I'm making this video, it's the album's been out for like 3 days. It's brand new. I'm still digesting the words and figuring out what they mean. So maybe I'll make a follow-up video down the road once I get a better grasp on the lyrics. But for right now, this thing's fun. It's energetic. It's punky. It shreds. It rocks. Everybody's having a great time. Everybody's so in sync with each other. There isn't a bad song in the bunch. The whole record really is great. This is one I'm looking forward to playing even more and just repeating over and over again and not getting sick of it, because there's just enough left turns and just enough moments to make you go like, oh, it feels like the White Stripes. Ooh, this feels like Blunderbuss. Or ooh, this feels like the Fear of the Dawn. You get all these eras and all these elements kind of wrapped up in one. So it's like a greatest hits of feelings from Jack White into this really brilliant new album. So for me, this is easily an 8 or 9 out of 10. I absolutely love it. I highly recommend it. If you haven't heard anything from him before, this would be a great place to start. Go for it. Start with the White Stripes. But if you don't want to start with the White Stripes, jump in with this one for sure. But that's it. My name is Giggens. It's been an honor to talk about a brand new Jack White album called No Name. Stream it, buy it, listen to it, enjoy it, and just have fun with it. And let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'm stoked to talk about it with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Giggens, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Thanks, Jack White. See you guys.